Here at Bob's Watches, we receive thousands of watches from all over the world, each with their own story and personality. But one thing is never certain. We never know what's in the box. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Watch in the Box. Before we get into this one, we got a little announcement. This is actually the last episode for season 1 of Watch in the Box. But don't worry, we're coming back with season 2 shortly. We got some really neat stuff in the works, so be sure to stay tuned for that one. So anyway, today our shipment is from Austin, Texas. So let's get right into it and see what we got today. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, looks like it's no box or papers. Let's see what it is. Oh, I can tell already. We got a big one today, James Cameron Deep Sea. This is really an interesting watch. It's Rolex's biggest watch that they've ever made. It's huge, 44 millimeters. I think it's like 17 millimeters thick. It's a crazy deep dive watch. And there was 2 of these. This one looks like it's the first one, the 116660. They recently came out with another one that looks a little bit different. It has a couple different designs. I can always tell by, if you look at the bottom where it says Swiss made, the newer one, reference number 126660, it has a crown between Swiss and made. And the first one, the one that we have here today, there is no crown there. So that's an easy way to tell which version you're looking at. This watch was released in 2014. The Deep Sea line of Sea-Dweller was originally released in 2008 with the black version. It's essentially the same watch, but it has the all black dial instead of the blue fade to black with the green that this version has. And this version was made for James Cameron. This is the first time Rolex has done a watch commemorating a person and event. So the Deep Sea Challenge that happened in 2012, this watch was made specifically for James Cameron for that event. So this version has a few aesthetic upgrades over the 2008 version that's all black. Most noticeably, the dial. The green stands out, first and foremost. The other one's all black, and it's really unlike Rolex to put a big bright color, bright green, in the middle of the dial like that. But it was actually done with a purpose. So if you look at the dial, you'll notice it starts off at this kind of nice dark blue color at the top, and then slowly gradients down and finishes at solid black on the bottom. And that was designed to represent and mimic the look of the ocean and the way that light penetrates the water. At the surface, the ocean's blue. As you get deeper and deeper, less light penetrates, it gets darker and darker. So down where the Deep Sea Challenger ended up, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, there's no light at all and it's black. So the dial is kind of a representation of that. Also with the green, you notice it's that the Deep Sea is in big bold letters right there across the bottom of the dial, and that's in a bright green. Well, that green is the same color as the Challenger was painted. So the dial kind of has the look of the Challenger and its mission, you see how the Deep Sea is down in the black. It's kind of representative of the mission where the submersible was underneath the ocean, down into the black part of the water where no light penetrated, and it's just green and black down there with the blue on the top. It's kind of a nice nod on the dial, and plus I think the way it looks is really clean as well. The introduction of this watch was also unique. So Rolex releases almost all of their watches at Baselworld, and this one was released as a standalone piece. It's 44 millimeter width on the case, it's 17 plus millimeters thick, and it has a 5 millimeter crystal on top. So all around this watch is big. It's wide, it's tall, it's heavy, it's just a big watch all the way around. It's so big because it dives so deep. So it's a 12,800 foot depth rating. And down at that depth rating, even if we're never gonna go there, we're never gonna use it at that depth, it can. And it's built to withstand it. So that's why the crystal's so thick, the case is so thick, the backing has a special titanium 2-piece case back. All these features of the watch are engineered to withstand that. Even if we don't use it, it's kind of interesting that the watch was built to take it, and it actually can go over 12,000 feet deep and still survive and operate. If you look at it from the side, you can probably see the thickness where this watch really seems like a big watch. It's almost 18 millimeters thick. It's got the 5 millimeter crystal on there. Just to give you a point of reference, the crystal on a 116610 Submariner is 1.5 millimeters thick. So the crystal on here is really thick, and it has a slight dome to it. You might be able to see it if I put it in the light, where it has the domed look on the crystal. It catches the light and it kind of gives you like a window into the face, almost has a little porthole kind of feel to it. So I think it's appropriate for the dive watch. It also has the glide lock micro adjustment, which I think is such a cool feature. You pop it up, slide it out a little bit, slide it in a little bit, put it back down, you're good to go. The finish of it is perfect. I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect for Rolex. Most people, when they see it the first time, don't even know it was there. It just looks like a solid piece of steel, but it actually comes up and it just works so smooth and well, and it's just great engineering and great design. So on top of that, they also have, if we remove it all away, they also have the flip lock diver extension, which is kind of unique. They usually have one or the other. This deep sea, like the other Sea-Dwellers, has a helium escape valve, and it's on the side. It's done really clean. I love the way Rolex does their helium escape valve. There's not a knob, you don't unscrew it, you don't have to do anything. It's flush with the case, and you don't really notice it unless you're looking at it, but it's there, it's functional, it's out of the way, it's clean, and it's really nice. This watch utilizes Rolex's ring lock system, and the Deep Sea is the only line of watches that has that system. And what it does is it helps them achieve that extreme depth of 12,800 feet. And what it does is it alleviates some of the pressure off of the case. You can see it on the inside of the crystal. On the bottom it says ring lock system. On the top it says original gas escape valve. That's pressed into the case, the crystal's pressed into the case, and that works in conjunction with the case back to kind of support all that pressure when it's underwater and alleviate some of that pressure from being supported by the watch case. This is a really big watch. I'm sure you're curious to see what it looks like on the wrist, so let's get it on and check it out. Oh, but first, wrist check. Today I'm wearing one of my favorites, the Rolex Daytona with the black dial. All right, here we can see how it fits. It's just a little bit loose on me. I have a 7-inch wrist, so you can kind of see the size proportioning on it. It feels pretty nice. Like I said, it's just a little bit loose, but it doesn't feel too big. It doesn't feel huge. It is a really large watch, and you're gonna notice it. It sits really proud on your wrist. You can kind of see it doesn't want to get under your shirt cuff. This isn't one that's gonna kind of slide under and go unnoticed. People are gonna notice this watch. It's gonna stand out. You're gonna know you're wearing it. That being said, it doesn't feel super uncomfortable. It feels really nice, feels really balanced, and I don't think after wearing it all day, it would be a big imposition. I really like the way it feels, especially for such a big watch. If you want a big, comfortable watch, I think you'd be hard-pressed to do better than the Rolex Deepsea. In terms of value for a watch like this one's in pretty much perfect condition. I doubt it will need very much. Has no box and papers. That will hurt the value slightly. Probably sell it for around $13,000. Well, that about wraps it up for this one. It's a really interesting dive watch, and I'm glad you guys were able to stop by and check it out with us. So that actually wraps it up for this season of Watch in the Box as well. We've seen some pretty interesting watches, a lot of cool things. If you're just joining us right now, make sure you go back and watch the rest of the episodes. I think you're gonna like some of the stuff we saw. But don't worry, season 2 is coming. We got some really cool stuff happening. Some new things are gonna be bigger, better. Like I said, a lot of new stuff in the works, and I think you're gonna enjoy it. So anyway, be sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for season 2. Join us next time for Watch in the Box.